So a little while ago, I did a video where I made every single player in the NFL 5 years old, right? And the purpose of the video was to see, okay, well, if everyone's 5, will they ever retire? Because at some point, I mean, you got to, right? It's even 30 years in the future. Well, what I learned is no. 99% of players did not retire because they were, again, 5 years old. So by the end of the franchise, which you can only do for 30 years online franchise mode, or even offline, online I think is 15, offline is 30 years. Well, after 30 years, newsflash, they didn't retire. And a lot of those players became 99 overalls. But what I didn't look at in that video, and what we're going to be focused on this video here, is we're going to be focused on NFL records. Because obviously when you play for 30 years, there's some kind of things you can start to build up on. And that, again, is the NFL records. So what we're going to do today is we're going to sim through those 30 years again. This time, though, I made every single player in the NFL 1 year old. Somebody suggested I do 1 year old players now. So every single player in the NFL, as we go through these, just to kind of get a good template of what these stats are before this video. And defensive sacks, there we go, is going to be 1 year old. Which, because I can sim 30 years in offline franchise, should mean that, and yes, every single player, little side note, I'm just going to show you. And this includes also free agent players. So if you go to free agency right here, and I show you guys free agency, every single player is 1 year old. Okay, this is all 3,000 some odd players. I digress from that subject. I want to see if anyone breaks records, because that's what I'm kind of curious about. And I didn't look at it in my last video, mainly because, again, we were more focused on players retiring and seeing what would happen. And after watching Aaron Rodgers play for another 30 years, I learned one thing. The New York Jets made the right decision. All right, so after the first year, I'm just going to skip forward after the first year here, guys. I'll be right back. There's going to be a lot of simming in this video, by the way, so there's going to be a lot of cuts as well. Alright, because the playoffs doesn't really matter, we're just going to be looking at the regular seasons. I'll show you how the playoffs go, but at the end of the day, again, like I said, we're trying to look at broken records here. So, for passing yards for this year, I wish you could sort it by years. That'd be so cool. But for NFL records for passing yards, nothing was broken. For rushing yards, nothing was broken. Or passing touchdowns, excuse me. Nothing was broken. For rushing yards here, nothing. Okay, and all we're looking for really is just for it to say 2024. And if any of these say that, then bam, we have our first record broken. I'll be honest, after doing this for 30 years, we're probably going to see some of these records broken. But maybe not potentially in the first year. That's going to, probably not be a fact. I mean, potentially, you never know. It is Madden, and sometimes players have crazy games, which could help them out a lot. But, okay, it doesn't look like we're going to see anything right now, but I'm always going to look at this just in case, Okay, here we go. Jamar Chase had 127 catches in 2024, so he hit the mark this year. Awesome. We have our first record broken today, which is that one right there. Nice. All right. We're going to see a lot of records broken. Oh, wait. Hold up. So these don't go by years. Oh, this sucks. So career doesn't technically... Okay, well, we're just going to have to kind of look at these players as we go along and kind of get a generalized look-size idea of where these guys are, because they don't go by years. All right, so getting into the whole thick of things here. By the way, I set everything to auto, so I'm not controlling anything. I'm letting the CPU control everything, because all we're caring about here, again, is what happens in the regular season, because we're trying to go for record chasing here. But Jags, Eagles, Super Bowl, by the way. Shout out to the Jags and the Eagles for making a Super Bowl. Very interesting Super Bowl. Eagles absolutely demolished the Jags 33-13. And Joe Burrow won MVP. Derrick Henry was Offensive Player of the Year. Caleb Williams, every single franchise I do, he is the Rookie of the Year. And Latu for the Colts was Rookie of the Year. But not only that, Saquon Barkley for the Eagles was MVP. Interesting. I'll see you guys after the next season. Playoffs year 2. I'm really not expecting to see anything huge until probably the 10th. Maybe no, probably like the 5th season, I would say. That's what I'm expecting to see something like huge happen. But, so we are in 2025 here. So if we see anything for 25, then that means something actually happened. But so far, not seeing many awards getting broken. Again, like I said, I'm expecting to see it later on down the line. And I might just sim 10 years to kind of see probably our first actual breaking of awards. But let's just see if anything crazy happens the first couple years. And so far, nothing really. Yeah. So far, it's a little bit of a nothing burger. But you know what? We have plenty of years left in the end here, guys. So, you know what? I think I'm just going to sim 10 years then. So we can kind of get a general gist. And then we'll do 10 years after that. And then 10 years after that. So, 1 second. Little side note, by the way. We had Bears versus Chargers Super Bowl. And, well, more of the story is the Bears won the Super Bowl. And then also, Jared Goff was MVP. This whole franchise is going to heck, guys. It's what happens when you make everyone 1 year old. Dan Campbell and Jared Goff didn't even get to the Super Bowl, yet they won MVP and Coach of the Year. All right. 10 years in the future. All right, so now we are into 2033. My players are currently 10 years old, so shout out to them for hitting their 10th birthdays across the board. Somehow Sam Hubbard now is on the Chiefs. I don't really know how that works. But nonetheless, though, let's take a look if anyone broke any records or if anything crazy happened. So let's go to, first off, let's go to league history. See who won the Super Bowls. So Dolphins won the last one. I can't even read. 49ers won. Wait, hold up. The Dolphins won the Super Bowl after losing to the 49ers, but then beating the Bears. Are the Dolphins now the new Chiefs? They went to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row and went 2-1. And apparently now have Nick Chubb. Interesting. Okay. Cool. I don't know if they are allowed to technically have a 10-year-old player. They won again? So they went 3-1 in the simulation so far, the Dolphins did. Okay. I'm just more interested to see if the Dolphins go back again. That's kind of crazy. This is, I turn everyone to 1 year old, and apparently the Dolphins just go insane. And what wait, hold up. Did the Dolphins fire somebody? They signed other teams' practice squad players. Okay, no one. They're just signing players. How well are the Dolphins in this franchise right now? The Lions are 16-1. That's nice to see. Dolphins went 10-7. Okay, so like they're not that great of a team, but like they're winning Super Bowls. All right, so any records broken? We're now 10 years into the future. All right, let's see. Nothing in the single game passing yards. Passing touchdowns, I don't know, nothing here. Wait. Oh, I don't know why. For some reason, that 1962 looked weird to me, but I don't know why. Okay, so we did hit Miles Sanders for the Chiefs, had 5 rushing touchdowns in a game. So he technically is on the record list for a single game in 2025, it said. So that's interesting. Catches, nothing, okay. Nothing there. Nothing there as well. Okay, so now we got season. This is probably more realistic where we're going to start seeing things happen. 2028. Vernon, so a make-believe player for the Tennessee Titans, went ahead and had 5,100 yards. Almost 5,200 yards. Dang. All right, so our first make-believe player actually shows up before an actual NFL player does. What is going on here, bro? What is actually going on here? Okay, so not really any stats. Okay, hold up. Yeah, no. None of these stats are being broken. I feel like career is going to be the first one to actually get broken and players popping up. The problem with career is, again, they don't have years. So some of these players are going to pop up and be like, oh, yeah, that definitely changed something. Like, Aaron Rodgers, I guess, like, in theory, he's going to forever be on this list because he's, you know, still playing. But, whatever. In the end, I'll go back and I'll look at the list, what it was beforehand, and we'll see the difference right now. But I guess technically 10 years in the future, you guys saw the beginning of this video. It's, you know, you want to go back and check to see what players progressed or degressed, you know. Receiving touchdowns, okay. I don't know why I said degress. Well, players actually hit records. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's go ahead and sim 10 more years. But not before we find out the Miami Dolphins are going to do it again. I'm more interested just in the Miami Dolphins winning Super Bowls. I didn't think that this video was going to turn me into, like, being curious about the Miami Dolphins and their Super Bowl chances. I don't know. It's 49ers Chiefs. Wow, what a very interesting first time ever Super Bowl. And 49ers lost to the Chiefs for, I feel like, the 16th billion year. And Patrick Mahomes MVP. Oh, that's so amazing. Alright, so now we are into 2043. And my players are officially 20 years old, so that's interesting. Where is everybody at? Aaron Rodgers, why is he still 13? Okay. I don't know why Aaron Rodgers has not aged. I guess it's all those, you know, darkness retreats type of things that has going on, because he is the only player on this whole list who has not aged outside of Tyron Smith, actually. So, I don't... Yeah, let's go with that. Actually, there are some players. Nick Folk apparently is still 16. Thomas Morstead is 17. Stafford's 17. So, I don't know how some players age, but some players don't age. It's an interesting set. Nonetheless, not really important. What's important is just let's take a look at these rosters, a little update to see where players are. Because obviously in, you know, 20 years, they're going to be different places, except for the retirement bench, because, you know, players don't retire. Just life. It's so weird to see, like, Kelsey, for example, still playing in 20 years. The NFL became so stagnant that it has not updated. Also, a little side note here is that what you're going to see, and we saw this in my last video, is that some of these guys actually start to become 99 overalls. Because they play for so long, they get so much XP. Some of them, they win Super Bowls. Some of them, they don't. And because of that, they're able to progress very quickly and become a lot better. And when you're very young, like, for example, you start at 1 year old when you start the franchise, you don't really regress because, you know, you kind of played, like, you're not, you're young. So you're going to be able to really, you know, take some time, develop, and learn. And it's a weird scenario. It's so weird making these guys, like, 1 year old. But nonetheless, league history. The Bengals lost another Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson apparently is on the Saints. The Chiefs lost a Super Bowl. The Cowboys won. The Titans won the Super Bowl. Apparently the second championship. The Bucks beat, again, the Chiefs. Chiefs beat the Packers. Okay. The Browns won 38-2. Chiefs won. Browns won. Dolphins won another Super Bowl. And I think we're now getting to where we were before. So the Browns won the Super Bowl twice, guys. That's what we're getting out of all this. Not league transactions. I'm going to go to league history. Let's go to stats. Let's go to NFL records and let's take a look at this. So, in 2038, the Cardinals quarterback actually hit the record for 523 passing yards in a single game. Nice. In 2035, the Broncos quarterback, Matthews, hit 7 touchdowns. I love how the make-believe players are the guys that are hitting these records and not the actual current players. 2027, the Cowboys, Sanders went ahead, Miles Sanders, I'm going to guess, 5 touchdowns. I think we already saw that technically, but yeah. And is that it for, at least for offense? Nope. Tyreek Hill had 17 catches in the game. I guess that was his 20th birthday present, was to hit 20 catches in the game. Oh, lordy. All right, so seasons. 2028, the Titans quarterback hit 5,100 yards, and I think that's actually probably it for that. Yeah, no passing touchdowns. Rushing yards. Okay, rushing touchdowns. No update there. Receiving yards, no. No new records there. I'm actually kind of surprised we're not seeing crazy stuff. Micah Parsons now leads the NFL with the most sacks in a single season at 26. All right, so Micah Parsons doing some things apparently. Interceptions, we're still kind of the same there. Let's go ahead and take a look at career. And passing yards, Aaron Rodgers is now at 131,000. So I'm going to guess all these guys are new. You know, for the simple fact that they've been playing for extended 20 plus years. And by the way, let me go to the very bottom here. Russell Wilson is the last guy there. Passing touchdowns. So all these players here are going to be new players because they've been playing for 20 years. Which means we also have 10 more. I think we have less than 10 more years left of this franchise before it's kind of kaboot and cut off. Because you can only do 30 years. So, sadly. If you could do more than 30 years, yeah, we would have some insanely crazy stats. But what you're going to see is all these stats are now being led by current players. Except for Rod Woodson. He's still on here. But let's go ahead and sim 10 more years. So 2052, I believe, is the last year. So I'm just going to go ahead and look at 2050, the end of 2050 here. Just in case it doesn't let me look at the records for 2052. I don't know. I'm trying to cross my T's and dot my I's here, guys. Nonetheless, though, let's take a look at the last, however many years. I think it's only been like 7 or 8 years. Not sure, but yeah. I can't believe the Browns won the Super Bowl many times. That just feels weird to say out loud. Anyway, NFL records. Alright, so Brock Purdy in 2046 broke a single game record for passing yards of 581. Gannon broke it for the Cardinals in 523 in 2038. Interesting. Passing touchdowns. 2035, we have Matthews for the Jets. Rushing yards in a single game. Nobody has ever broken it. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Nothing there. Receiving yards. Still, no one has broken a receiving yard record. And again, this is just single game. For, career stats at this point, let's be honest, it's automatically broken in every single circumstance. Anyway, for the year stats, let's see, season stats, we already talked about Vernon many times, so nobody broke passing yards outside of Vernon. Nobody broke passing touchdowns in a single season. All right, and then no one broke the rushing yard. I'm surprised some of these records are not broken. I feel like some of these have to be broken. Like, in real life, I'm talking about, not just in this franchise. Receiving touchdowns, no. Especially as years go on, usually players get better. It gets a little bit more crazy. Micah Parsons, we already talked about, he broke that record. defensive interceptions, and yeah, no. But, yes, sir, here, with nobody retiring, the 70-year-old, 80-year-old Aaron Rodgers is still kicking it for all of these, crazy stats. And at this point, I mean, if there's any old player left, they're not going to beat anybody here. When you played for another 30 years, like, I mean, some of these players have played for what, like, maybe 10 years, less than that, some of them, but then also 30 years on top of that. It's hard to beat that. It's very difficult to beat that. How old are my players? Because apparently some of them are different ages, because apparently some of them age at different paces. So Justin Houston, ironically enough, is 18 years old. Kelsey is 21, okay. How old is Aaron Rodgers? Because apparently he didn't age for a little bit. He's still 13. Aaron Rodgers, 30 years later, is still 13. This guy, he doesn't age. Tyron Smith is still 19. Apparently, Rodgers and Tyron Smith are never going to be able to drink because... It's funny, too. Tyron Smith hurt. That's ironic because he didn't age. Matthew Stafford hasn't aged. So some of these players have aged and some of them have not. It looks like. They should be, I think, like, what, almost 30 years old? 27 around? So some of them have, though. Like, some of them are actually correct ages. I guess some correct ages, but Derrick Henry's 24. Some of these guys are at least hitting some, like, correct ages. But I don't understand. So, like, Joe Burrow is 27. That's how old they should be, 27 years. I just don't understand why Madden has it so some players can age normally and some players can't. That is such a weird concept to have different depending on the player. Anyway, I digress. Nobody's retiring, so everybody's just staying in the league. But let's just take a look at who wins the Super Bowl. Chiefs versus Bears Super Bowl. Oh, this should be a good one. I'm going to say Chiefs win, but the Bears end up winning 35-32. Shout out to the Bears, man. Caleb Williams wins another Super Bowl. Interesting. All right, I'm just going to sim to the end of this franchise. I think it's only one more year anyway, and we're going to see the final stats of this video, guys. Hang on. I kind of realized I could just do this, which is stop right before the end of the 2052 season. Again, that's the last season. So, my players, some of them are 29 years old. Not all of them are. Some of them are 27. Some of them are 26. And in Aaron Rodgers' point of view, well, he's still 13 years old. He's still kicking it. 31 years in the NFL. Doesn't even count correctly. I love this game. With that being said, let's look at our final awards before this franchise goes to heck. And also, let's look at these ages. Our oldest player in the NFL is Garrett Wilson. And he's on the Dolphins. I'm just going to go down here and just see where these guys are. Zay Flowers is an Eagle. At least a lot of these guys are 29 years old. I'm happy that some of these guys understand the concept of aging. And by the way, if EA didn't have a limit to how long we can make franchises, Aaron Rodgers would be playing forever, guys. He would be playing while everyone else would eventually retire because of their age. Not Rodgers. Rodgers will be playing until he's 67 years old. Okay, I saw Scary Terry and I thought I just saw Terrell Owens. Apparently that's a thing. Alright. Broncos lost to the Lions in the Super Bowl. Interesting. Caleb Williams, we already talked about before. Let's see what our final stats look like for this. NFL records. Single season. Still nobody... Oh, sorry. Single game. My bad. Passing yards. Nobody's beat anything else. Yeah, only one guy beat the passing touchdowns in a single game. Rushing touchdowns, nothing. Receiving touchdowns. I mean, I guess I'm not really surprised. Oh, here we go. Amon St. Brown had 17 in 2052, which was the last year of this franchise. Interesting. Interceptions, and that's it for that one. Passing yards. Nothing. Still hasn't gotten beat. Passing touchdowns, rushing yards. Again, even though the player's getting better, apparently they're not able to break any of these records. Kind of makes me feel better, by the way, about my initial video, because I didn't show any of the records being beat. And I didn't show the record to that video, and it looks like even if I did, they would not have gotten beat anyway, because most of these records, outside of career, obviously, most of them do not. Rodgers. So, this is kind of disappointing, and I just realized this. 131,071 is the highest stat it will go in Madden. I just realized that. So, the stats do not count after 1,031,071. It's the same thing like when you go into a game. If you get more than, I think it's 1,200 yards, the game stops counting. So, it won't count anything higher than certain things. For a single season, anything above 127 touchdowns does not count. So, it looks like Madden does have a limit to how many passing touchdowns you can have and passing yards you can have in a single season. I'm sorry, in a career. So they do have a record, and I think Derrick Henry might have hit that record right here. Dang, Derrick Henry. Tyreek Hill has the most catches of any receiver in history. More than our man Jerry Rice, but also Jerry didn't play for like 60 years, actually, because, what, 30? No, Tyreek Hill has played for 10 years so far. So 40 years, excuse me, 40 years. And Khalil Mack leads that stat. Okay. Interceptions will never be beat. So our final thing to look at here is going to be who wins the Super Bowl. Is it the Miami Dolphins? No. The Dolphins just lost to us. So we have some injured players apparently. Interesting. Let's see who wins the Super Bowl then. Is it going to be the Chiefs? If it is the Chiefs, I'll be so upset. It's going to be the Chiefs. I have a feeling. Unless the Chargers beat us. Oh, the Chargers beat the Chiefs. And it's the Chargers-Vikings Super Bowl. Talk about a freaking Super Bowl right there. And do we not get to find out? What? Okay. So, 2052 is, like, done. Okay, there we go. Oh, we never get to find out the last Super Bowl. Oh, no, we do. Chargers beat the Vikings. Okay, cool. I was about to say, if we get out the next Super Bowl, man, I'll be mad. Joshua Dobbs won MVP for the Bears. Guys, this franchise, we're what? 29 years in the future. Herbo's winning a Super Bowl for the Chargers. Josh Dobbs is winning MVP. Amon St. Brown and Aiden Hutchinson are winning Defense Player of the Years. This was an insane video. I'll see you guys in the next one.